Magic, a power so great and powerful. Power that people ascribe to a god. One in thousands is born with the ability to become a magic swordsman, and only 1 in 10,000 can become a magician. Beyond those extremely low odds, for the first time in the kingdom of Vario, a young boy with magic ascended to the throne, becoming an emperor. It looked like the magician was entering his second heyday, but in a dungeon, there was a man who looked like he was belittling someone. The man said, "What's so great about the magic that ordinary people use?" And the person he was looking down on was an emperor who was in prison in the dungeon. His condition was very poor. His feet and hands were tied with a special chain and his whole body was covered with wounds. The man said, "Look at you, you can't even break free from a simple magic chain. Isn't that so, Ian?" Then Ian tried to get back up and he said, "Crony, so you're still the same as before." Crony said, "What are you trying to say?" Ian said, "Since I was a kid, I remember you used to say something to me." When he was a child, Crony seemed very close to Ian. She gave him a piece of advice. She said Magians are rare, but the majority of them are ordinary people. You will be expelled from the residence if they find out, so. Ian also said, "I thought you were protecting me back then, but now I know the truth." And in the past, Crony gave advice that he should hide his magic from the people around. Ian said, "Crony, you're afraid of that lowly magic." Crony, who heard such words, was very upset with Ian. He immediately shouted, "Shut up," and he slapped Ian hard. Crony said, "You know what? Don't forget that I'm the one standing here, and you're the one lying on the floor." Then he stomped on Ian's head. Crony said, "I guess I have no other choice since you want to die so badly." Then he took out a sword. And he said, "But over the years we become very close, so I'll do it quickly." Ian was surprised to see Crony pull out a sword to kill him. Then came a soldier who shouted, "Lord Crony." Crony said, "What's wrong?" The soldier said, "Duke Hillian sent a letter." Crony was annoyed because his business was interrupted. Then he said, "All right, I'll go," and he immediately left Ian there. Ian said in his heart, "Is it going to end like this? Well, at least I can say that I've lived well. It may have been a short life, but I'm sure someone will remember me, Ian Verosian. Someone will." Then there was the sound of someone calling his name. He said, "Ian. Lord Ian. Wake up, Lord Ian." Ian started to regain consciousness, and he said, "Mom, why are you here?" Nam said, "Now is not the time to talk. We have to hurry." Ian said, "Stop it. I was able to become a magician thanks to you, and I even became emperor." Then Ian had tears in his eyes, and he said, "Now, I just want all this to end." Nam said, "Lord Ian, do you remember? The Ministry of Magic building next to the second royal palace. You used to hide and cry there, remember? You said going there gave you a second chance. I don't know why, but that's something you need to figure out, Lord Ian." Then Nam made a magic circle below them. Ian said, "What are you doing?" Nam coated the magic circle with his own blood. Ian said, "Stop your spell." Nam said, "It's too late. I've mixed my blood into it." Ian immediately shouted, "Nam, that's forbidden magic." Then Crony came and said, "I knew you'd try something like this, damn magician. What are you doing?" Nam said, "Lord Ian, please remember this." Then Crony came with a sword, and he raised the sword. And Nam said, "Gods never give us questions we can't answer." Ian smiled after hearing that sentence. Then Crony immediately killed Nam. And he said, "What is the answer?" Ian could only stand by and watch it happen right in front of his own eyes. Then Crony said, "Ian, I hope you're never reborn." And Crony immediately killed Ian. After he died, Ian remembered the words spoken by Nam. "Remember this, Lord Ian. Gods never give us questions we can't answer." Then fragments of memories between Ian and Nam appeared, and Ian saw down there the shadow of a young man. Then time returned to the past. Inside the palace, there was someone shouting his name. The person said, "Ian, can't you even walk properly? Hurry up and get up." Then there was a woman who said, "We took him in after seeing how his horrible mother gave him up miserably, but I can't find anything I like about him at all." Ian started to wake up, and he felt a pain in his head. He said, "My head." The man said, "Please watch what you say, dear. We can't make mistakes in front of Mr. Mullane." The woman said, "Even an asshole is still your son. Is that right?" Then laughing, her son said, "Mom is right. Why are you acting like that, Dad?" Hearing the conversation, Ian said in his heart, "Who are they? My head is spinning. Why are they so noisy?" Then the man said, "What are you doing? Get up quickly." Ian stood up again, and he said in his heart, "Who are they, and why?" Then he looked at the mirror in front of him. Ian was shocked after seeing his own face. He said, "Who is it?" The man said, "Behave properly in front of Mr. Malign. Don't embarrass me." Doesn't the Emperor need to hear good things for your enrollment to go smoothly? Ian was confused by that. He said in his heart, "Emperor, is he talking about you?" The man sighed and said, "Stop making stupid faces like that. All right, I'll show you the document. This is the Emperor's decree. I didn't show you because you can't read it, but you can see the symbol." Ian became even more confused. He said in his heart, "What is he saying? I haven't made any decrees lately." And he realized something from the document. He was surprised to see the date on the document. He said the year on the royal decree, dating from 98 years ago. Then the boy who was laughing at Ian earlier took the document, and with a smug face he said, "What's the point of looking at this? You can't even read." The head of the family said, "This person is the central administrator we invited to get you on the family register. Behave yourself and don't bring shame to the family." The servants who heard that said, "This is Mr. Ian's first time attending such an event. Will he be okay?" His friend said, "I'm not sure if things will go smoothly." Ian still couldn't believe what had happened to him. He said, "Year 1100 of the imperial calendar. An imperial decree that I don't know about." An unfamiliar face reflected in the mirror. "It's time and space magic nom." And moments later, Ian had gone to the dining room. There he ate a steak. He ate the steak with great elegance and good table manners. People who were there were surprised to see that. After finishing his meal, Ian said, "It seems that I'm too hungry from being in jail until I eat impolitely." Then Mr. Malign said, "Mr. Ian, your eating ethics are really good." Then the man who was previously rude to Ian said, "You praise him too much, Mr. Malign." "Yes, although I wish you would say a few good words to the Emperor." Mr. Malign said, "Of course, sir. I heard that all families are a little late in learning philosophy. I wonder how deep Mr. Ian's knowledge is. Oh, I should have asked the eldest son, young Master Chell, first. Who is your favorite philosopher?" Chell was too confused to answer such a question, so she said philosopher. Then she showed her confused face and pretended to think of such a question. Ian, who saw that, said in his heart, "That's a question to assess the level of knowledge of this family." Then Ian said, "I like fill-in experts." Mr. Malign said, "You know fill-in?" With a smile, Ian said, "Of course. If you describe his thoughts on humanity, you can get an idea of what a true ruler is, right?" Mr. Malign was also pleased with the answer given by Ian. He said, "I didn't expect you to know the name of a famous philosopher in the capital. The Margraves' level of knowledge is truly surprising." Lala, the head of the family, said in a stuttering tone, "I am commended." His wife was annoyed by that. Lord Malign said, "Seeing that your son is so intelligent, I'm sure the Emperor and the barbarians of the East will accept Mr. Ian." Ian said in his heart, "The barbarians of the East will accept me." The barbarians of the East, the Chunryo tribe. Only one country on our border is adjacent to Chunryo, Vratz's domain. In the past, the Vratz family made a peace treaty with the Chunryo tribe. Then the family head held Ian's hand, and he said, "Ian." Ian also said in his heart, for the sake of the treaty, the illegitimate child named Ian was included in the family register. The head of the family said with an intimidating look, "I believe you can become a symbol of peace." Ian continued his words and was sent there as a hostage. Then with a smile, he answered the patriarch, "Yes, father." And the banquet was over. Cho was annoyed that Ian was the one who got Mr. Malign's attention. She scolded Ian and said, "How dare someone like you embarrass me? Do you think you're already a noble because your name is on the family register now?" Ian said, "If I wasn't a noble and part of the Vratz family, you would have been sent to the Chunryo tribe. Is that okay?" Chell said, "You? Did you just call me you?" Then she picked up the vase that was there and angrily threw the vase. Then she said, "How dare a lowlife like you talk to me casually?" The vase was thrown at Ian, but he missed it, so the vase was thrown towards the wall next to Ian. The shards of the vase hit Ian in the face. Then Chell said, "Do you want to die with your mother? It was only yesterday that you were living the life of a lowlife, but you're already unaware of yourself." Ian's patience had reached its limit. He pulled out his magic power and said, "Fool." Chell fell down because she was hit by Ian's magic power. Ian said, "The weight of your words has not changed even though you are young." Chell was terrified by Ian's power. Ian also tried to warn her. He said, If you don't watch your words, maybe your tongue will be cut out. Then Chell wet her pants and said, "Don't come any closer." Then Mr. Moline came into the room. He said, "Young master, a snack." And he saw the magic power emanating in the room. Mr. Moline was surprised to see that. Then the head of your family came and said, "Mr. Moline, did something happen?" His wife came in and said, "Chell." Then they saw Chell sitting on the floor wetting her pants, and the head of the family said, "What's going on here?" Chell, who was still scared, said, "We." But before Chell could explain the situation, Ian immediately approached Chell and he said, "Sister, I told you to be careful with the vase. You better stand up, brother." Chell felt so scared seeing Ian near her. Then Ian held out his hand and said, "Come here." Chell said, "Yes." Her parents were very embarrassed by Chell's behavior. The head of the family shouted, "Hannah, take Ian to his room right now." Hannah's maid immediately came and said, "Yes, my lord." "Mr. Ian over here?" Ian replied, "Yes." Then the head of the family spoke to Chell, saying, "How could you be so careless?" Mr. Milan, who knew that, immediately glanced at Ian, who was leaving the room. Then Ian arrived at his room. There he found a room that was so bad and looked like a servant's room. Ian said, "What a shabby room." Then the waitress Hannah said, "Mr. Ian, what about the letter you want to send to your mother?" Ian said, "What letter?" Hannah's maid said, "You keep crying, so at least you want to send a letter, because you can't go outside." Ian said to himself, so she was locked up to prevent her from running away. Ian embarrassedly replied, "I won't cry anymore, so don't worry." Servant Hannah said, "Then, pay for me." Ian asked, "Pay?" Then Hannah bowed and she said, "I have 5 siblings. Those children can only survive if you share their food, so I beg you to have mercy on them." Ian said, "Share food? My food?" Hannah said, "Even if it's just dinner today." Then Ian felt sorry for the waitress too. And he said, "Okay, but there is a condition. When I ask for your help, you have to do me a favor." With a smile, Hannah replied, "Sure, call me any time." "Thank you, Mr. Ian. I'll be back at dinner time." Then the waitress left. Ian was tired of the situation. He said, "It's becoming more and more troublesome. Time and space magic should only send someone to the place where this spell was cast. But for some reason, I was sent to a distant time and place and in a different body. The question is, why is that? To find out the answer, I must to the magic cabinet in the Imperial Palace, the place, the one Nam was talking about earlier.